Everybody, welcome. My name is Dewayne, and I am going to start helping a lot of people that are dealing with fear of public speaking. I've already been asked questions about some of this here in the background, and that's exactly a lot of the things what we're dealing with when it comes to this series and a couple other series I'm going to be doing, which is fear. Okay. Fear is one of the main things that I'm going to talk about, and one of the main things that's keeping you from either how you feel about public speaking, or if you have an idea that you want to take from a side gig to a six figures, something along those lines. And the main thing that I'm really helping people or want people to understand is to put the fear behind you. That's why that's back there. Put the fear behind you. I am kind of a horror fan, true. But it's a very good theme for a lot of common things that people are dealing with. So this particular video, I'm actually going to go in and showing you a couple things that you can do immediately that's going to help you as far as dealing with your fear of public speaking. So I have a series, and the name of this series is Speak Fearlessly. That's what I want you to do, and I'm going to help you do that. I'm a keynote speaker, and I'm an entertainer, perform 3 to 4 days a week, all year long, all over the globe. So I'm going to give you a lot of insight of what you need to do if you need to get in front of a crowd. You need to rock the mic, you need to rock the stage, whatever the case is. So let's jump right into it. One of the first major reasons why you have a fear of public speaking is something that a lot of people deal with, which is imposter syndrome. This is one of the biggest things that keeps people with a lot of anxiety when it comes to the idea, oh my God, I got to get in front of a group of people. Now, I'm going to give you why you feel like you have imposter syndrome. And I'll talk to you a couple things about what you can do to maybe get over that. Okay. One of the biggest things that I know that you're internally dealing with, everybody deals with it sometimes, is very simply imposter syndrome. And now the question you need to start asking yourself is, why do you feel imposter syndrome? There are three things that you feel as far as imposter syndrome, and I'm going to give you some solutions to those. The first thing that you feel is you expect yourself to be absolutely perfect. A certain degree of perfectionitis, a certain degree of everything has got to be exactly right. You've got to be able to pronounce every single word exactly correct. And if you don't, some people are going to judge you in the fact that you're on stage. You don't have to feel like that. And there's no reason for you to put this pressure on yourself of feeling like you absolutely have to be 100% perfect, because you don't. The fact of the matter is, if you're on stage, people are there to hear what you have to say. I've been on stage doing things. I was doing a show in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I was in front of about 350 people. And they put the cocktail table on the stage, which is where I asked for it to be. I didn't know it was a two-piece cocktail table. So any of y'all that's in events and banquets, you know that the top of it can screw on the bottom legs. I didn't know that. And it had a skirt on it. So I went to move the table, and I took the top part off. And I was sitting there holding the top of this table, and the bottom part of the table was still stuck on the stage. It took us like 5 minutes before they got somebody from banquets to come over and like put it back. I was in the middle of the show. I mean, that was actually right before that was me opening my show. We started with that. And it was this awkwardness for about 3 minutes, people just watching me, and I was there, doing my entertainment set. So people thought, is this part of the comedy bit? And no, it wasn't. I just screwed up. But, I apologized to the audience and then rolled right into the show. You're not going to be perfect. I've dropped things on stage. People have dropped things on stage. I handed somebody to something. Somebody drops things on stage. Pick it up. Move on. Okay? Not everything's going to be perfect, no matter what you do. And as any experienced speaker will tell you, if you get on stage, it's not going to be perfect. So putting this pressure on yourself that you absolutely have to be perfect isn't going to help you. And there's no reason to do that. The question you need to ask yourself is, why do you feel like you absolutely have to be perfect? And actually you don't. The second reason why you have this imposter syndrome that you feel, okay, is you're afraid of people seeing that you don't know everything. And this kind of ties into perfectionism. You don't have to know everything. Only thing is like the phrase was talked about, if two people are running from a bear, you don't have to run the fastest. You just have to outrun the second person. Okay? It's kind of the same thing. If you're getting in front of a group of people, you don't have to know every single thing on the subject. You just need to know what is you're talking about. And in some cases, you just need to know a little bit more than the audience. That's it. And you'll deliver a good presentation. But if you have this fear of, what if somebody asks me a question and I don't know the answer, and I'm going to look like people are going to know that I don't know everything, and I'm going to look like an idiot. And then now you're going back into that same fear, that same horror story you're telling yourself that you absolutely don't have to do. So you don't have to know every single thing about the subject that you're speaking on. You just need to know your subject and what you're speaking on. And you have to sometimes know just a little bit more than the audience. That's it. Here's the third thing that you're also probably dealing with. Part of you feel like you're not qualified. Now, I'm not saying any of you have lied on your resume. I don't know. Maybe. A couple people may have done that. I don't know if you've ever done that. I'm sure all of us at some point has probably done that, right? And you luck up. You were the right person at the right time. They liked you in the interview. They liked your questions or how you answered the questions, and magic trick, you got the job. Now it's like, oh yeah, since you got the job, by the way, we need you to talk about blah 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 blah. And you're like, oh, uh-oh. I don't know. Has that ever happened to you? Maybe. But guess what? That's okay. Because if usually nobody just randomly gives you a microphone and says, go talk about this. So you do have a little bit of time to prepare. You can use the internet, you can use AI, you can ask other colleagues, you can brainstorm with other people across the country. You can do things where you don't have to necessarily tell on yourself if you don't know everything about the particular subject, or if you personally internally don't feel like you're qualified. And some of this too falls into the category not feeling like you're worthy. You get this undeserved attention. You might get this undeserved applause, and you're like, I'm not really worthy of that. Some of you are giving yourself, as Tony Robbins would say, you're giving yourself a story, right? Where you have sat and you've thought about where you're from. Well, I'm from this little small town, or, your family has a lot of problems, and you just put all of this burden on yourself where you don't feel like you're worthy of what the accolades or the recognition or the applause you might get, or people coming up to you after your presentation and wanting to talk to you, or they're excited about it, or maybe something you said in the presentation really resonated with some of the people. Whatever that case is, you might deal with that internally, like, oh man, I don't want, I don't deserve that. Or, I'm good at this, but I'm just good at it because I just understand it. And sometimes you might be good at things that you just really don't know why you're good at it. Maybe you're just blessed, and God gave you that blessing that you're good at that, and you don't even internally understand why you're good at it. I know that there's people like this that are in tech, and people like this that are in IT, people like this that are into building things, building systems, and having systems built on top of each other. They can just see the math, and sometimes they can't always articulate how they see the math. They're just good at it. And they're afraid that if I don't articulate it well, people are going to think I'm not qualified. And then we get back into that imposter syndrome, and then we get in that fear of judgment. And those three things are the things that those three things feed that fear of imposter syndrome. You need to be perfect, and you don't. 2, you feel like they're going to know that you don't know everything about the subject. That's not true at all. 3, you don't feel like you're qualified internally. Maybe you lucked into the job. Maybe somebody did you a favor. Maybe somebody put in a word. Maybe somebody just liked you in the interview, and they picked you over another candidate, and you're afraid maybe that's going to come out. You don't have to deal with any of that. So these are some things that if you recognize them and you understand them, this will help kind of calm some of that fear that you feel, that fluttery. It's a fluttery feeling. I still feel it too sometimes when I get on stage. There's a fluttery feeling you feel, about to rock the mic, about to get on the mic, and oh my God, and all these people are going to stare at me, and all these people are going to look at me. And there's this fluttery feeling. So if you can kind of start going through some of these things, this is going to help you. Here's what I decided to do. At the end of April, I am going to put on a workshop, okay? Just for people that are dealing with this. This is a virtual workshop, okay? It's Speak Fearlessly, and I'm doing it April the 21st at 1 p.m., and it's $47. I'm doing it virtually, okay? I'm going to talk to you about how to deal with imposter syndrome. I'm going to talk to you about how to deal with jitters. I'm going to talk to you about how you can calm that internal anxiety before you get on the microphone. I'm going to talk to you about how you can handle questions from the audience, even when you feel like you're not qualified. The workshop's going to last about 90 or so minutes, roughly. I'm not going to make it go long. I'm going to have a general overview, and then I want to leave a lot of times for question and answers. So what would be helpful is that if you know that you're going to attend the workshop, send in those questions so that way I can have them already ready to go so we can go ahead and get them lined up, okay? Now, what I am also offering is this. Any of you that have any questions, I am giving and offering a 10 complimentary phone call. So this is something that you don't have to deal with all by yourself. One of the things that you deal with when you deal with fear is you feel like you're by yourself, and you don't have to be by yourself, okay? So I'm going to give a link. Hit the link, fill it out. It's like four questions to let me know what's going on, and I will send you my avails in my calendar, schedule a 10-minute call, and we can just talk through some of the things that you might be dealing with, okay? But I want to seriously encourage, if any of you are dealing with fear, number one, it's great in a group setting for you to see other people have the same fear. I really have been kind of blind to the fact. I mean, I've been rocking stages since I was about 17 years old. So I got over my fear of public speaking pretty quick. And felt like I had to do that because I found a connection when it came to being able to make an income, either entertaining or speaking. So I'm a little bit out of touch with dealing with that fear, but there's plenty of times that I still get nervous walking into a show, or if I'm walking into a bigger show, or I'm walking into a really major keynote that I have these jitters and these fears too. I still deal with it. I still deal with all of that. As many stages as I may have rocked. But the good thing is that when you understand it, you're not the only one. And when you have those fears can be very isolating. And it's something you don't have to deal with by yourself. So in a workshop setting, you'll see other people kind of shaking their head and dealing with the same thing, or asking some of the same questions that you might ask. Okay. Speaking of that, we're going to answer one of the questions. I got a couple questions here. Some of y'all wrote in some questions, which one of the question, this is from John from Austin. He's a sales rep. John from Austin asks, what is the best way to start a speech? And there's actually two ways, but I'm going to definitely give you one. There's two things you can do to start, how you can start a speech. One of the best ways you can actually start a speech is ask a thought-provoking question as soon as you get on the mic. And this thought-provoking question can challenge an ideal. This thought-provoking question can challenge a set of beliefs. It could be slightly edgy. If you're in a particular industry and you know that the industry standard is XYZ, but you may have found a different way, which is what has qualified you to be a speaker, go ahead and pose that question as that being the central theme of you answering that question through your entire presentation. So asking a challenging question that kind of sets the audience back or gets the audience to think. One, it grabs their attention. Two, it makes them think. And three, it immediately breaks the ice. And one of the things that happens that's interesting about human beings is that if you pose something that's a little bit challenging, they listen a little bit more intently because they're looking for the holes. And that could be just a magic trick way of you getting them to pay attention, even though everything that you may say after that question might go along with the industry standard. But one of the best ways you can actually open up your speech or your presentation, ask a challenging question that would kind of challenge the audience. And what that will do, they will sit upright, they will listen, and they're going to listen a little bit with the intent of, is he saying what he's saying full of BS? So I hope this helps. Again, I really want to encourage you, if any of you are having any fears, you just want to have somebody just to kind of talk to. It won't be a pitch fest. My 10 minutes overview calls are not a pitch fest. I offer what I offer. Fantastic. I just want to hear whatever fears that you might have. Only thing you got to do, hit the link, send me a message, let me know. We can work out some available dates. We do a quick 10-minute phone call. I do limit the call to 10 minutes though, because it is a free call. I give you 10 minutes. Any questions that you might have when it comes to fear, public speaking, let me know. We can talk about it. But please don't forget, please do not forget the workshop. Okay? Speak fearlessly. That is going to be April the 21st. 1 p.m., $47 to register. I'm going to drop that link and give the landing page and all that. That's being built right now, but I just want to let you know. I hope this helps. If you have questions, send them in. Every question you send in, I got like 30 questions, so that means I got 30 more videos I can do. Send in your questions. The more questions you send in, the more questions I can answer. Thank you very much. Always, always remember, you have to put the fear behind you. Put the fear behind you. Don't put it in front of you. If you put the fear in front of you, it's going to stop you from taking action. Fear is behind you. It's not in front of you. The only thing in front of you is opportunity. I hope this helps. Let me know.